Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to episode 5 of Business Uncensored. I'm joined here today with Tanner. Dude, I just blanked on your last name.
It's Owings.
Owings. You know what? Actually, in my phone, your name, I put it as Tanner, strong deadlift. And then, yeah. Because when we first met, because we met back in 2016. And on Snapchat, it still has your name as Tanner Strong Deadlift or Big Deadlift or something because it doesn't change it. But your name in my phone is now Tanner Owings. But
it's funny you say that because your name in my phone, I think still is Zack Juggernaut.
Oh, okay. There we go. Hey, it's all
that's
good.
Where we met.
It's all good.
It's like when you meet someone, you have to put a reference after it because you're I don't know the person's last name.
Yeah, someone like Bumble, you meet
a girl at the bar.
Yeah,
and you're
just
whatever her name is, and then you name the bar after.
Yeah, exactly. That's how you remember.
Yeah.
I always, when I had to put my phone number in girls' phones or whatever, I would always put my last name and just be it's there, just so you remember it,
so you know,
confirm,
because it's really important in that moment, right?
It's really important. Well, cool, man. So a little background on Tanner. So Tanner and I go kind of a little bit back to 2016 when I was just starting to coach at Juggernaut, and he joined my little squad of powerlifting champions.
Bartels Barbarians.
Yeah. And we just hit it off, just kind of like-minded with entrepreneurial endeavors and, being kind of driven young individuals in this day and age. And Tanner's now a successful, full-time day trader. And I feel always doing 10 things at once and has his own entrepreneurial endeavors, and just felt he'd be a really good person to have on the podcast. And especially, with today's day and age and the stock market and everyone, buying GameStop, hold the line, diamond hands, let's go. And talking just a little bit about some of that stuff and giving insight on some of his experience, bounce around some different endeavors and finding ultimately, I think, the passion, the full-time gig. So, so Tanner, so we met back at JTS. What kind of brought you there? How did we meet?
So, all started 2016. I freshly was out of college, just graduated from UC Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
Go Gauchos.
Yeah.
And, I actually ended up going to Juggernaut because of our mutual friend, Ron.
Ron the Lifter, big boy Ron. So, I met Ron in the powerlifting club at UC Santa Barbara. Shout out Santa Barbara Powerlifting. Alumni. Santa Barbara, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's hashtag.
Yeah, hashtag. So met through Ron, and I was getting into powerlifting through the club and stuff, because that's kind of originally what got me into the sport in general. Is I've been lifting weights for about 10 years now, and when I was in college, I wanted to compete in something. I wanted to do bodybuilding. But going to UC Santa Barbara, it was heavily party focused. I didn't really want to give up my party life, I guess you could say, for the dieting. For the dieting and stuff. Even though I was looking back at pictures, and it's for what I was eating and stuff, I was still ripped back then.
You were pretty lean.
Yeah. So I've always been lean. I've always been naturally really skinny.
Were you 190 when we were you sub 200?
Well, yeah, I was competing 198. It's my first meet. And I think I was
deadlifting 600 pounds. Oh, yeah. Really ugly though.
Oh my gosh. Catback King.
Yeah. Catback King.
King of the catback. Yeah. Scared cat. Yeah. So, I got into powerlifting through the powerlifting club at UC Santa Barbara. And then I wanted to compete, but I wasn't going to do it till after I graduated, because it was also my senior year. So right after I graduated, I moved back to my hometown in Aliso Viejo. And I was looking for a strength gym, and Ron hit me up and he's like, "Hey, I got a place for you. It's not too far." It was only it was in Laguna Niguel, right?
Yeah, it's close.
So so it was a 10-minute drive from my house, and I ended up going there and met some of the crew. And at that time, I was coached by someone else. Actually, it was my first coach.
Yeah, who were you at that time?
He was someone I met through Santa Barbara. His name was Michael Cresto, I think.
Okay, I do remember you having.
Yeah. So he kind of coached me in my first meet, and then I remember actually you kind of not alter my programming, but kind of helped me for the
tips.
taper.
Yes.
Yeah, and then after that, you were just getting into programming, and I wanted to join the Barbarian squad.
Yeah. And my solid sales skills just sold him.
Oh, it sold me.
Yeah. Just
couldn't beat the price back then.
No, hid my 19. I was probably like 19 or something. Yeah. And just like, all right, I trust this kid.
Yeah.
It's good. You got stronger. We did a lot of reps, but hey, you got more jacked, you got stronger, and you lived to tell the tale.
I did live to tell the tale. My knees took a little while to recover, but I made it.
Yeah, back then, guys, I was all on the volume train. So we're doing 8x8s. We're doing some crazy stuff. Like 12 by 8 on belt squat.
Belt squat days.
Just so many belt squats.
Overload
that you would just never want to do belt squats ever again.
But you're like 22 years old, so you can just recover from anything apparently. So
What'd you study at UCSB?
I studied sociology.
Oh, so that's the easiest way to graduate.
Okay. So it's funny you say that because this is a question I get a lot. Is like, well, was your background finance?
No,
people
I knew
me about.
I knew it wasn't
as a
finance.
trader.
I wasn't sure it was business.
And I'm like, no, it was sociology. And the reason it was sociology is because I had like a majority of classes kind of already done.
Okay.
And ultimately, when I first graduated, my plan was to go become a physical therapist. I wanted to become a DPT.
Okay.
So I was looking into like going to grad school and stuff like that. And, I had the sociology major as the background. So it was, you just needed a bachelor's and you can kind of get into the program as long as you did like some prereqs. But yeah, that all didn't end up playing out at all. No. And I'm honestly kind of grateful for it because, what I do now, I love waking up every day and doing what I do.
So at what point were you like, okay, DPT is not for me?
Gosh, that's a good question. Probably once I joined the corporate world initially.
It was before Weed Maps, right? You were working at...
So I've worked in the restaurant industry pretty much my whole life. Since I was 15, I got a job at Tony Pepperoni Pizzeria. Shout out Tony. And I still work there to this day. I work a couple of days a week, beer tending. I do everything, honestly. Yeah. Like I serve, I beer tend. I even deliver one day a week still.
Yeah. And it's because your schedule is mainly mornings. I know we'll get into it more, but like when do you finish your trading for the day? Like
I'm done every day with actual trading, not the other work I have to do afterwards, but I'm done actually trading by 9 a.m. every single morning.
And then after 9 a.m. he's journaling. No.
Yeah. We'll get into that.
Okay. Yeah. So back to what we were talking about. So at what point were you like, cool, DPT is not for me? You were working your first corporate job? Or?
Yeah, no. So right after I graduated, I kind of didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I was kind of looking into doing courses for DPT. And then I just went, what I knew, I went straight to back to the restaurant, and I was working there full time and like an assistant manager. And they actually gave me an opportunity to go be a manager at one of the new stores opening. And I initially was going to do that. Yeah. Because,
where was it going to be located? You were going to have to move.
I was going to move to San Diego.
Ocean? Okay.
Yeah, San Diego, Carmel Mountain Ranch area.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So originally that was the plan, quote unquote, in the moment. And, what ended up happening is like, I kind of just, I don't know, a bunch of my friends were getting corporate jobs and stuff like that. And it got to the point where I saw all of them going into it. And I was like, you know what? Like I have a college degree. Like I feel like I need to try this kind of. Yeah. And like, it was just weird because like, I was the first one in my family to graduate college. Mm-hmm. So I didn't really have direction or like influence. They just wanted me to, go get a job or something, just be successful, quote unquote, whatever that means. Yeah. So I kind of just tried to figure out what I really wanted to do, I guess. And of course, that's like the ultimate question, and no one really knows until you kind of
find it, or it finds you.
Yeah, exactly. So something ended up happening where I decided not to take the manager job. Yeah. And because I was like, you know what, I feel like I want to go work corporate and try it. And I've always been a believer in like working for a company or doing something, you're like being involved with something that you care about. Yeah. So in college, I was a huge stoner.
Oh, I knew that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I cared about weed, I guess you could say. I don't even know if you could say I cared about that much. I was knowledgeable.
Passionate in a sense.
I was knowledgeable about it.
Yeah.
So naturally I was like, okay, corporate jobs, like how am I going to get hired? Background. I have a huge customer service background. Mm-hmm. So I ended up applying to Weed Maps because I found that they were in Irvine and stuff. And I applied for like a bunch of random positions, a bunch I wasn't qualified for. Yeah. And then it just so happens they opened up this one like for customer success. Mm-hmm. And they kind of said like, yeah, you're kind of like, you're dealing with customers and like helping them onboard them into like software and stuff like that. And ultimately Weed Maps is a technology company. Yeah. So that was something where I was like, cool, this can kind of get me into the tech world, I guess. And, I know about weed, so I know about the product and the background of the company. So this seems like a good fit. So I ended up applying and they liked me and they gave me the job.
Yeah. And so you were there for a bit, right? And doing some of that stuff. And then eventually you shifted to another tech company,
Yeah. So I was there for about a year. And then like kind of just got unhappy there, which is just like, I don't know. It just wasn't for me.
I don't know. You had catered lunch every day.
I did. Yeah. I had catered lunch. I had really good catered lunch every single day. So that was good. I was saving some money.
You don't get catered lunch anymore.
I know I don't. I make my own food.
That's so rough.
You know, that's how the corporate world sucks you in though, right?
Exactly.
You know, they want to give you all the perks and the benefits. And then, you know, the salary you get is basically what you get to give up the rest of your life.
Yep.
In theory.
Yep.
So yeah, I ended up leaving there because I was unhappy. And what's cool is I'm still at Tony's.
Yeah.
So I would work one day a week.
You would do both.
I would work one day a week still, maybe 2 days a week. Cause that's the thing is like, I've literally worked there for over 12 years now. Yeah. And like, even throughout college, like I'd come back on vacations and pick up shifts. You know, it's just, I've always had such a good relationship with the restaurant and like, it's because
and the owner.
Yeah. Joe, he's such an amazing man. And he like has always been there for me and taught me stuff. He's one of my mentors for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Like he has taught me tons with business. He's supported me on every endeavor.
He's into real estate stuff too, right?
Oh yeah. One of his main things is real estate. Yeah. He owns like 80 something houses in Detroit.
It's crazy.
So, and yeah,
influence, huh?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, Tony's has always been there in my back pocket. So I went back to Tony's for a bit. And in between that time, you know, I applied for another company called Restaurant 365. And it was similar as it was a support role, but it was technical support.
Okay.
So this is like advanced like ERP software. So it's like enterprise resource planning. And basically
pretend I know what that means.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll go into it.
ERP. I know.
No, but basically it's a fancy way to say like, oh, this is like the master software that shows everything from, you know, your accounting to your inventory to your POS system, whatever.
So it's like an all-in-one
kind of platform, back office platform. So the support or the role was technical support, and it was for the operation side of things. So they were looking for people that had like restaurant manager experience and customer success experience, and also had a tech background. So I was like, oh, this fits perfect. I just came out of the tech industry, quote unquote. I have the restaurant experience and I have, you know, the customer service experience. So I applied there. I got the job like basically right away because the mold fit really well. And that company was honestly really cool. Like it was great. There was nothing wrong with the company. I got so many perks, so many benefits. And from there, it just kind of like became something where I just always knew I wanted to do my own thing.
Yeah. And
it got to the point where, you know, I was always searching for little things here and there. So like while I was there, like I tried to just start like a drop shipping store at one point.
Yeah. I remember that.
So we'll rewind a little bit.
Yeah.
So when I was at Weed Maps, I met a few people that were kind of interested in fitness.
Yeah.
And they came to me because they were interested in starting like a fitness app.
Yeah.
So I was kind of working with them for a bit because I had like the fitness experience and like the fitness knowledge, quote unquote. And then they basically, you know, I would do work for them on like the customer success side, and just like, I was always into the product side of things too, where like I was like kind of interested and obsessed with like how the product would be built out, what we could do for it. So that was always a side project I was working on. And I was still working on that at Restaurant 365 when I was there.
The app.
Yeah, the fitness app, quote unquote. And then while I was at Restaurant 365, I got exposed to the trading game.
Yeah. So how'd that all start?
So this is kind of how it all started. Originally, it's really funny. I hate to say it, but I came across Wall Street Bets.
No way. That's how it started?
Way back in the day. That's not how it started, but that's how I learned about options. Okay. Sadly, not really learned, but that's how I got introduced to options. Yeah. Okay. So, I bought my first stock in like 2017 and it was Tesla at $300.
There we go.
Yeah. Before the split.
I sold at $300.
I know. I bought it at $185. That's right. We talked about
to buy gym equipment, but it's okay.
Yeah. I mean,
you know what?
Hey, all I'm going to say is as of right now, today, Tesla's down 50% from the highs in like 35 days or something like that.
Yeah, it's really down.
So,
but it's okay.
Everything's perspective.
Diamond hands. We hold the line.
Everything's perspective. So
tendies, chicken tendies,
yeah,
right?
all the tendies, yeah, all the other obscene stuff they say on there that you're not allowed to say. Yeah. So yeah, I bought my first stock in 2017. It was Tesla. And then like from there, no one really taught me like how the stock market worked. I had a few friends that were interested in it. My core group of friends were kind of interested in it. And we all kind of just like taught each other in a way.
Yeah.
But it was mainly just about investing, not about trading.
Gotcha.
Because the biggest thing I want to make a point on this podcast is trading and investing are completely two different things. So trading and investing are completely different. When it came to investing, basically, I kind of wanted to start building out like a portfolio of stocks because in my mind, I was like, wait a second, you can buy a piece of a company and this company can make you money because you're invested in it, quote unquote. Like the stock can go up or it can go down, obviously. But I've always kept my, also big disclaimer, anything I say on here is not financial advice.
There we go.
So
is that legal? Like you have to legally say
I have to legally say that.
Why?
Yeah. It's just because that when it comes to investing and finances specifically, there are so many like Series 7s and all these like different tests and stuff and like regulations that are behind it. So like even like in my current trading group that I'm in right now, we do like a webinar every other week.
Yeah.
And the owner of the group always like does a disclaimer and he's like, anything we say on here is for educational purposes and all the coverage on our charts is not implied by,
so
goes on
if
and
someone like was like had all those certifications, then technically legally they can give advice.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, it's like Dave Ramsey making his podcast.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess so. But just the disclaimer.
It's always, I noticed that people always do
say that. Yeah.
And so I assumed it was a legal thing.
Because when it comes to the Security and Exchange Commission, there is a lot of craziness that can go on. And a lot of sketchy stuff. So
definitely.
Ultimately, it's just a safeguard.
Yeah.
So with that being said, my philosophy from the beginning and kind of like that I built out for investing from the investing side of things is it's so simple. You can just buy companies that you believe in.
Yeah.
And when I say that, I don't mean like, oh my gosh, like from Wolf of Wall Street, when he's trying to sell like this company's going to be huge in the next 10 days. Like I just know they're going to double, triple. I don't mean like that. Like you got a tip or something, you believe in it. I mean like consumer goods and staples and stuff. Like literally when you walk down the street, I actually heard this the other day. When you walk down the street and you see someone in, let's say like you're in New York and you see like a young person walking down the street. What are they wearing? What do they have? They have an iPhone in their pocket. They're wearing Nikes. They're wearing Lululemon, and maybe they're drinking, maybe they're drinking
Starbucks.
Starbucks. Exactly. So right there, super simple. Those are all huge companies that the odds of them going under are very low. Yes, anything is still possible, but people make investing too complicated. And the problem is everyone wants to get rich overnight. Mm-hmm. No one likes to get rich slow.
Yeah.
So from the beginning, this was always kind of my philosophy. I'm like, well, I could just buy companies that like I know and that are staples and that I believe in. And ultimately over time, the statistics show this is going to go up.
Yeah.
So, and I'm young. I can handle the gyrations of the market. I'm not a 70-year-old dude looking to safely invest my money and worrying about where it's going to be in the next 7 to 8 years because, I may need to pull out.
Yep.
It's like, no, we have so much time behind us. And that is the beauty of investing when you're young is you have so much time and you can make it so simple, but people love to overcomplicate it.
Definitely. Yeah. And that's one of the things too, is like, I bought my first like stock probably in like 2015, 2016. I think I actually had the Merrill app at the time or I switched to then Robinhood. But my stepdad was like a broker. So I kind of knew a little bit about stuff, but it was always companies that I liked or had heard good things about, like Tesla or I had NVIDIA for a really long time. I wish I still had NVIDIA.
I know. NVIDIA is great. I just bought some today.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, no, I think as far as like for someone like me, and I liked how you mentioned there's a difference between investing and trading. Because that was one of the things I want to talk about today was like, building long-term wealth versus building like making money short-term. I feel like everyone, especially with all the Wall Street bet stuff, the GameStop stuff, the AMC stuff, everyone just trying to make a quick buck. First of all, they don't know the implications of that, and they don't know, how much you got to pay in taxes and things like that. So they don't save for it and all that stuff. But also, I do think obviously young people, they want to make a quick buck, but really what they should be trying to do is build long-term wealth. And so that's where I want to I'd love, to talk about the differences and like, how you spend, I guess, with your day-to-day with trading, like how much, I guess, how do you split that up? How do you switch, like go from one switch to another of like, okay, this portfolio is for this portfolio is for that. Like, how do you divide that up? How do you think about those things?
So that's a very good question. Ultimately, you should always have, if you are trading and investing, it always should be separate, never the same. And even for traders, some people have day trading accounts and they have swing trading accounts. And for like those people that don't know the difference, day trading is you are intraday actively getting in and out of the position within the same session. Swing trading is anything you hold for more than one day.
Okay.
And usually a swing trade could be closed in a couple days, maybe even like a month, or like a week or so. It's just it's a different style of trading, but the whole point is they all should be separate.
Okay.
So, and when it comes to long-term investing, it's definitely something where like I don't have any of my day trading stuff attached to that. It's completely different, and ultimately that is the way to, number one, keep your head sane, because if you're looking at your account and it's especially like today's a great example. You know, we had a huge drawdown today. We ended up closing pretty well, but yesterday we had a big drawdown too the past few days. If you are looking at your long-term portfolio and you're also day trading in it, you are mentally going to feel like you're not doing well day trading, but maybe you are, because you just saw your long-term portfolio go down 10%.
Yeah.
And you know, you are freaking out because you're like, oh, I'm not doing as well. But then like when you have it separated, it's easy to be like, oh, cool, I actually did really well in my day trading today. Yeah, my long-term investing is hurt, but the day trading account is good. So like that's a really good way to kind of like separate it and keep it different.
So, and I know with like, obviously, and this goes for all entrepreneurial endeavors, like it takes some time, before you can take the plunge and do something full time, whether it's whatever it is, right? And I know with you did so in a transitional period where you had to get to a point where, you can pay your bills like through day trading. So how did you make that shift? Did it feel like a plunge you were taking? Did you do it pretty safely? Can you describe that for us?
Yeah, for sure. So kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier is like the transition to it, like kind of, when I was doing, drop shipping and then working for Restaurant 365 and then doing the app and stuff like that. So originally I got into actually interested in day trading because, I found like options on Wall Street Bets, like I said, and I remember I bought my first options contract. Like it's crazy thinking back on it, because I bought like a same week expiration Netflix call the day after they had bad earnings. And it's funny because now this is something I would never do. And there was a weird anomaly that day where they had really bad earnings and the stock tanked pre-market. And then at the open, it just started pumping. And I remember I made $300 in like 20 minutes, and I was at work and I was like, this is how much I make this is more than how much I make in a day. Yeah. This is insane. And so like right then, like that was chasing the magic dragon. That was hooked. Yeah. And that was in 2018, I think. Yeah, 2018. Yeah. It was like early 2018, maybe like January or February 2018. And, I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then like I always kind of saw like charts and stuff like that. I was interested in crypto because when I was at Weedmaps also, that's kind of when the big crypto boom originally happened. That first boom up to that's like 18K or whatever. Exactly. Yeah. And that's what got me like initially interested in it. And I always would look at charts and stuff like that. And I was like, I just don't even know what I'm looking at. That's the problem. Yeah. And it got to the point where like, I always knew I wanted to do something on my own. I've always had I've always tried to go for things and try to do different things in my life. And I finally, just one day I was like, you know what? I know people out there that aren't even that smart. Yeah. But they're great traders. And, it definitely, there's more smart people that are traders, but like, just from like the way they talk and like present themselves, like it was kind of mainly in the crypto space, actually, specifically, because now a lot of people I follow and look up to, they're really intellectual and great. Yeah. But I remember like seeing some people on YouTube and I'm like, this guy sounds like an idiot, but like this guy just made like 10 grand. Yeah. So for me, that was something where I'm like, if someone like this can do it, I know I'm educated and I know I know I'm not dumb. So like, I know I can do this. I just need to apply myself and figure it out. Yep. So basically it got to the point where in 2018 in May, I came across this Instagram called Ophinicus Holdings. Shout out Ophinicus Holdings. Oh, I've seen you repost. Oh yeah. I rep them all the time. Yeah. It's the trading team I trade with every single day. Okay. So that was in May of 2018 or no, maybe it was May of 2019. Was it? Yeah, this is 2019 actually. Because I've only been trading full time for like 18 months now. And then it's been a little over 2 years I've been like interested in trading. So this is all 2019. Okay. And Ophinicus Holdings, it was just literally my algorithm, just classic Instagram caught me. Okay. Yeah, popped it up. And they had this like alert service where like he would just kind of say what he would go into and you would pay for it monthly. It was like it was like $40 a month or something. And he would just say like, oh, I'm buying this here and selling this here. So in my mind, I was like, this is a way for me to make extra income. Yeah, I don't really know how to do it, but like
you can just copy him.
His win rate was like 70%.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, this is like 70% chance that I'm going to continuously make extra income.
Yeah.
So for me, I was always trying to make extra income on the side for everything. So I started doing that. And then eventually he kind of talked to me and he was like, oh, you should consider like joining like the think tank, which is basically a chat room, his chat room. And he also had a course where he like made a bunch of videos and stuff and kind of like went over things. And I eventually joined the think tank. I kind of saw what all these guys were talking about and stuff like that. But all these guys are like really good traders and they're going into like detail where it's stuff flying over my head. I have no idea. I'm just buying what he tells me to buy and selling what he tells me to sell. And I'm like trying to look at the charts, kind of trying to understand it, not really understanding. And then finally, like in May of 2019, I was like, okay, I should invest in this and take a course. Like, it's like, I'm only going to learn if I put the money into it.
It's true.
To learn. So it's like, it's for educational purposes.
Invest in learning how to invest.
Yes, exactly. Invest in learning how to invest. Exactly. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna take this course. Bought the course from him. Went through all the videos and stuff.
How much does something like that cost?
It was roughly like $1,000, I think.
Okay, so it's pretty hefty.
I mean, it like wasn't wasn't like cheap, quote unquote. But there's some courses out there that are like $5,000. Okay, man. Some of them get expensive. So like, and the coolest thing about this is, the owner of Appenicus, Kyle, he really was genuine. Like, there's so many gurus out there that are all like, blasting this. They have like 500 people in their chat room, 1,000 people in their chat room. So they can't give you like a one-on-one experience. And like Kyle is, I believe he's my age, 27, 28. Really? And he's been trading for like, I think almost 10 years.
Wow.
So he has a lot of experience. And, it was kind of something that he was just kind of, I don't know if it had just started a couple years before that, but like he probably had like 50 people in the chat or something like that. Like nothing huge, but it was small enough where he could give me the individual attention and he would always answer my questions and my feedback.
That's awesome.
And I genuinely always really appreciated that and respected it. And like, that's honestly like what gave me a lot of confidence to kind of like learn and continue to like want to get into this more, is because he gave me that quality. He gave me that like that reassurance that I'm doing this. I'm here to help you. And like down the pipeline, like this is what I want to eventually get into is teaching. Yeah. Cause like something with trading is like a very selfish thing.
Yeah.
And I always like want to think like, okay, how can I like give back in a way?
Make a difference.
How can I make a difference? How can I like help change people's lives? Because like ultimately this can change your life if you get good at it.
Yeah.
You can work for a couple hours a day and like live an awesome life. Do what you want to do. So like, I really want to get into coaching eventually. Yep. And I have a few people actually already kind of hitting me up about it. I'm just like trying to decide like how I want to make the coaching model, how I kind of want to like do it. So
I know a good business coach.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Even I'd love to. We can chat always, but I do feel like so. I'm even noticing this in like powerlifting per se. It's like there's a whole just different product now with like coaching coaches, like or coaching traders, or business coaching, coaching business owner. It's like, and people I think are starting to realize, and one of the things that we've talked about before on the podcast is asking for help, seeking out help, and constantly learning. And that's something you did. You didn't try to just bare knuckle this thing and just go for it, and you protected yourself by investing in knowledge, and therefore, increased like probably how much time it took you to like become, quote unquote successful. Right. And that's one of the biggest things you can do, and is invest in that, whether it is for investing or business or just like lifting weights, like whatever it is. Getting someone to help you and look at things objectively is huge. And I think it's super cool that you've found this kind of like community. So when you say like investing team, like what does that mean?
So it's a trading team, number one. It's not investing.
Sorry,
don't forget.
Yeah, trading, investing, separate things.
So basically, like with the chat room that he has and stuff like that, there's a core group of people. There's a lot of people in the chat room, and some people kind of just lurk. But there's a core group of people that really like try to contribute and help each other. Yeah. And we do these webinars now every other week where we go over like the markets, we go over key levels, we go over like technicals and stuff like that. Because I am a technical trader, which means I am just paying attention to the chart. I don't care really what I'm trading. Like I've traded companies where I have no idea what they do, but if the technical setup is there, they had good earnings, and I like the movement, it has good volume, good catalyst, I'll trade it. Really? So like I think I traded a thing a couple of weeks ago called like Futu or Fubo. I'm like, I have no idea what this company does. Fubo, yeah.
It might have been. Well, Fubu was started by
No,
okay,
not him. The Shark Tank guy.
Yeah.
No. I think this is like a TV thing or something.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
anyways, I
a
traded
no-name company.
Yeah,
that
exactly. You trade it. Yeah.
Good.
So we're very technical traders, and they go over. And I kind of learned this in the course I took, is like how to spot certain setups, things you're looking for, and for me, like just having the community of people that are like all helping you, it's almost like working for a prop firm. So there are proprietary trading firms out there where basically everyone trades the fund's capital, but they all work on a team together. Mm-hmm. And this in a way is like the best way. Like if you want to get into trading and you can find a chat room like this or something that you connect to, and it's not super mass, and like, you can get some individual treatment or whatever it is. It is like a prop firm in a way, but of course you're trading your own capital, not their capital. Mm-hmm. But it gives you the reassurance, because honestly, if I didn't have these resources and have other people like around me helping me, quote unquote, this would be really hard, because you need all the information you can get, honestly, because maybe you're looking at something and someone sees something that you're not, and they remind you and you go, oh shit, you're right, I shouldn't take that trade. Or like, Powell's speaking at noon. That's right. This is going to have an effect on the market. I got to be careful. I got to be all cash right now. Okay. Stuff like that.
So how much of like trading, I guess with trading, it sounds like it's super technical, because I was going to ask you like how much of it is, let's say, technical versus like a gut feeling of like, ooh, this just feels like it's going to be a good move, and you do it.
So that's a great question. Ultimately, it's technical in the sense of like you're looking at these patterns and you're looking at like the charts and whatnot. But I always say price action is king, which means in the moment, anything can happen. Technically, you don't know what's going to happen. We are like, as a career, I am predicting something that's going to happen based on information that is given to me in the moment. Mm-hmm. And it's funny whenever people look at charts like, oh, well, why don't you just buy there and sell there? I would have done that. I'm like, but when it's happening, you wouldn't. You don't know. You look for signals. You learn stuff like what certain candles mean. Like this is, a hammer candle is when buyers are stepping in and there's a good chance that it could reverse. Mm-hmm. But the biggest thing I've learned from Alpinicus and working with all these guys is if you trade with if-then scenarios, your chances of being a successful trader are the highest, which means if the stock does this, then I'm going to do this. But if the stock does that, then I'm going to do that.
So you pre-plan that?
You plan your trade your plan. Always. Like that is the key.
And I know you, obviously I know last year was like pretty good for you. And I know the year before that you were still working full time, but a lot of that, as you learn, I know you do journal, you keep a track of everything. Like what do you do there? And why do you do that?
It's a good question. So this is the part of trading that no one sees. And this is the real work of trading.
And real quick too. Yeah. Cause I feel like a lot of people, especially again, Wall Street bets, people who are jumping on this wave with their stimmies and trying to,
I hate all this terminology.
Yeah, I know. Much. I love it. Cause all my friends are little memers. So like I hear the noise. And so then I can like
RKT's popping off.
Yeah. Literally my water ETFs. I think people see this as like this quick buck, quick cash endeavor. And then they don't see this that goes in the planning and the journaling outside of it. So tell me about
because everything, the problem is everything on Wall Street Bets that you see is literally gambling. Yeah. It is Wall Street Bets. It's a casino. Like they don't know what they're actually doing. Yeah, there probably are a few people on there that know what they're doing to a small extent, but they're not going to be posting about it. They're going to be in and out of the game before you even thought about taking it. Yeah. And the real work when it comes to being a trader is all the grunge work that you don't see, all the glamour you don't see. So I only trade 6:30 to 9 every day, sometimes 6:30 to 8. Sometimes I trade for 15 minutes. I hit my daily goal and I stop. But that is just the trading. The real work happens after the close, after the bell. So this is something I've learned actually from a prop firm that I follow. It's called SMB Capital. They're on YouTube. This is one of the best resources out there. And I learned a lot from them as well on top of Alpinicus. And they still put out videos every week and it's awesome. And these are like multi-million-dollar traders. And their whole thing is creating a playbook. And the idea behind a playbook is just like a sports team would have a playbook of plays they're going to run with their team. You create a playbook of setups and ideas that the market has shown to prove over time that can happen. Of course, you can have a setup in your playbook where it looks like it's going to work and then it doesn't. but then you take your stop because that's what trading is. It's never guaranteed.
Gotcha.
But based on all the data and information you've gathered and what makes sense in your head, you know that this trade has a 90% probability of working.
Yeah.
So that is something that I personally am building out. And this is something that no one gives out because it is your own personal proprietary information.
I was going to ask.
Yeah.
So
this is
someone like Opinicus or whatever wouldn't just sell his.
No. That's like the one thing is everyone's playbook's unique. And I think ultimately it's the best thing that it's unique because everyone trades different. And that's the best part of trading is there's a million ways to make money. Because I do it some way, maybe it's someone on the back end of my trade doing it different. Like maybe I get out at the highs and they're about to short it and they catch the break, the rip back down. So creating a playbook is like what has helped me the most. And in order to create a playbook, you basically need data. So I use also a software called TraderView. And every single day after I'm done trading, I export all my trades from my broker into TraderView. And it loads them all up. It shows my entries, my exits, shows the chart. It shows how much I made. It shows all the details about it. And from there, I log each and every single trade I took that day. And you can tag it. So maybe it's a setup that I'm watching that, and when it comes to your playbook, you name these setups. So you try to figure out what makes sense to you. So like a big one I trade all the time is called like the daily breakout setup. So I look for I look for recent highs of the daily candles to break and continue. And then like if I trade that, then from there, I upload it to TraderView and record all the data behind it. And now I know if that trade comes again in the future, this has a good probability of working.
Gotcha.
And so the whole idea is, I could size up a little bit on this trade because I know that there's like a 90% chance that it's going to make me money. And that's what SMB preaches a lot is they preach getting bigger and better at your best setups.
Gotcha.
And the only way to learn your best setups is literally through screen time. And that's the other big thing is experience.
Yeah.
Nothing can replace screen time. Like me watching the tape, me watching all these candles every single day, I do it every single day. So eventually I kind of get an idea of what buyers and sellers are going to do. Like there's so many people like, oh yeah, it ripped up to here and then it pulled back really hard and then I got scared and then I got out. Like me, I'm like, oh, well, I knew like it was probably going to rip up to here. And I got out right there because I knew I had a chance of pulling back. And then I looked to get back in later or something like that. And that's only through screen time and experience.
Got you. And so too, with like growing, making more money doing it, the only way to do that is to make more money and then trade more with more cash, right?
Exactly. And this is the hardest barrier to entry. So this is also something that that Kyle initially, so right when I quit my job, so I quit my job in October 2018 from Restaurant 365. And it was ultimately to pursue trading full time, but also work on the app because I was still like involved with the app.
Yep.
And then the app guys actually ended up dumping me.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, they kind of just like, they're like, hey, it doesn't seem like it's working out. You seem like you're too invested in trading. Like,
whatever.
And ultimately it was the best thing because it right then I was like, all right, Tanner, like you've tried this, you've tried this, you've tried this. Now you have trading. And this is it. Yeah. So you need to give this your all and like really go for it. And it made me completely focus on it. And all last year was just like a grind, just to figure out what works for me personally. Yeah. All in. Exactly. So, so that's kind of like what propelled me further into wanting to make, more money doing this, obviously, because, like the cap is just like forever. But it was funny. So right when I quit, I remember talking to Kyle and I was like, yeah, my goal is just make $200 a day. Like if I can make $200 a day, like that's 50 grand a year. Like I can just pay my bills and just, at least like kind of grow from there. $200 a day when you first start is so hard.
Really?
Because like you're inconsistent.
You have no playbook.
You're inconsistent as fuck. Like you have no playbook. You have no ideas. You are just throwing shit at the wall. You're trying to figure out what works and you are just going from there. Yeah. So I remember like days where I would make like 300, I'd be like, oh my God, it's such a good day. Like it is like so sick. Like my first few months, I was so inconsistent. I think I had like, oh God, I would have like 14 or 15 red days out of like 20 trading days in the month. Fuck,
man. That's rough. Like mentally to stay in it like that.
Yeah. So, and like, that's the thing is it's a lot of grind because like when you're just getting hammered on and you don't really know what to do, you just, you have to look at your data and like until Kyle was like, cause I told him I was like $200 is my goal. And he's like, honestly, he's like, you should shoot to make $50 a day. Yeah. And just be consistent. And I was like, $50, like I'm not going to be able to live off that. And he's like, trust me, if you can be consistent and make $50 a day, you can scale from there.
But you have to start small to stay
You
consistent.
have to start small in order to scale. And that's the biggest problem I see right now with everyone trying to get into trading is they all want to get rich overnight.
Yeah.
And this is a marathon, not a sprint. And making $50 a day consistently, if you can average like 3 red days a month, that is like professional level. Like that's fantastic. Like, and even like Kyle and some of these guys in the group, like they'll have like 1 red day a month, maybe not even have a red day a month. Like they do fantastic and they're making great numbers too. Yeah. So for me, I finally like accepted it. I, choked on my pride and I was like, all right, I got to make $50 a day.
So, and with that, were you living off your savings at that point?
I was working at Tony's, cause I basically, once I quit my job, I was like, okay, I can pick up more shifts at Tony's, and just basically just try to live off of that.
I know you sold your car too and downgraded.
Yeah. So I like did everything I could just to basically save as much money as I could. Cause I did have a good chunk of change saved up from when I left my corporate job. But I did stuff where I was like, I just need to live super frugal. I had like a Mazda Speed 3, it was like a $30,000 car. I was like, there's no point in this. I sold it. I bought a $4,000 Scion TC and drove that around till it exploded basically. Yeah. And I just did everything I could just to like pay my bills and get by with my other income and just learn how to trade. Yeah. Never touched my money from the account, never pulled money from the account. I had to put money back into the account because I blew it up 2 or 3 times. Yeah. And that's the reality of it is no one sees like when you trade every single day and like you try to learn what works, you're going to fail. You're going to make mistakes. And in order to survive the learning curve, you have to trade small in the beginning because trading with size is a privilege. It's something you earn. It's not something that comes just right away. Yeah. And, once I finally did start hitting $50 a day pretty consistent, I remember like, I think it was like February of last year. I had like my first really good month where I made like 1,500 on the month or something like that. But it was like, I had like 3 red days. Yeah. And I was so stoked. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so consistent. And then March happened. Oh, and everything just tanked. And all the season traders made a killing and I got slaughtered because I just wasn't ready. I was just like basically just holding stuff overnight, not knowing like my setups. I had no idea. And like these moves are so violent. I wasn't ready for it. Yeah. And so I got destroyed. And then, kind of got my feet back under me in April. And then since April actually of last year, I've been green every single month. That's awesome. So, but last year was a lot of small months. I didn't really start sizing up until like late of last year. And in the beginning of this year, I sized up much more. Yeah. And honestly, it just came with like consistency and practice and stuff. So like I went from trying to make $50 a day to 100 to 150 to 200 to 300 and like my biggest goal this year is to become a 6-figure trader. So like my current goal is 400 a day. Yeah. And I'm fairly consistent with it. Yeah. So, and the biggest thing I'm stoked on right now is I'm hitting like roughly 3 red days a month and my consistency is really good. I still slip up from time to time. It's totally natural. It's totally normal. But my goal originally was to become a 6-figure trader by the time I'm 30. I was like, by the time I'm 30, if I can do this, like I'll never have to work a 9 to 5 again. I can do my own thing. And like I'm on track to do it and I'm 27. Yeah. So I'm just so stoked that, I have put in a lot of work behind the scenes. So it's, it's finally like really paying off. Quote unquote.
And one of the things, and you've mentioned this a few times, like you always knew that like you would do your own thing, right? Yes. And one of the things I've always noticed is like, it's always like, all right, what's Tanner up to now? Like you've always, like try, you've always tried to get in different things and do different things and kind of had your hand in a lot of things. How did you stay like motivated as you were, I guess, like fumbling around a little bit, trying to figure out what stuck, right? How did you stay up?
Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I did consume a lot of entrepreneurial content. Sure. Like I've always loved that stuff. It's just been something that's made me tick. Like I remember my first Gary V video I saw is like the one where it was right after I graduated college. He's like standing outside a hotel in front of his car. He's wearing like a white t-shirt and like sweatpants or something like that. He literally looked like a bum. And like it came up on one of my sponsored ads on Facebook and I was like, who's this guy talking to me about like making money and shit? And like he was talking about like, if you just graduated college, you were entering the best years of your life right now. Because I remember at that time I was like, what am I going to do? What's going on? He's saying like, this is the time to figure out shit that makes you tick. Yeah. Figure out stuff that like you really are just like, you're obsessed with, like, and if you don't like it or it doesn't work, like move on to the next thing. Yep. Like that's what it's about. And like, that's kind of what I really went through in my like early to mid 20s is trying to figure out what makes me tick. And I think until you can figure out a point where like, yourself and you know what you care about, that like everything along the way is just all learning. It's all learning experience. And like, once you finally can figure out what makes you tick and what you like you can just own it. And like, for me, like, I'm just like, I've always known I love powerlifting. Like, powerlifting is what makes me tick. Like, I'm going to powerlift until I break, and then I'm going to do bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Like, I know eventually you're already broken, so I know you're going to run around.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, I know powerlifting makes me tick. And like, I've found trading. Like, I know like trading makes me tick. I wake up every single day and love what I do.
Excited.
So I'm like so stoked on it. And like, that's the biggest thing, is what kept me going ultimately is, you know, consuming this type of content and just being able to really just accept that everything is process driven, everything in life. And if you can't respect your process, no matter what, it sounds so cliche, but like, if you can't respect your process, like, it's just, you're not going to get anywhere. You can't focus on the goal. And it's the same thing with trading. So it's like all the dirty work I do every day after the bell, logging, journaling, reviewing. And then at night I get home and I still rip through charts. I look for setups for the next day. It's just like, it's not this glamorous thing where, you know, you work. I just hate seeing the ads where people are like, oh yeah, I worked for 2 hours today on the beach in Tahiti. Mm-hmm. I'm like, no, you didn't. Mm-hmm. This is from 10 years of experience. Yeah, maybe you're doing it now, but like, no, real traders put in the grind, they put in the work.
And they're trying to sell their like playbook.
Yeah, they're trying to sell their course and stuff like that. And like, and whenever I see that stuff now, I chuckle at it. Yeah, it's flashy, but
it's the same as like a bodybuilder posting like, look like me, buy my 12-week program.
Exactly. Buy my ebook.
Yeah, my ebook.
Yeah, like
online coaching, 12 weeks transformation challenge. Mm-hmm. Like, dude, it's ridiculous. So let's say someone's listening to this and like wants to get into day trading. Where would you tell them to start?
Oh, this is like the question I get DM'd every single day.
Yeah.
Especially now with all the Wall Street bet stuff. Like everyone goes, oh, where do I start, man? And I'm just like, oh God. Okay. So it's just years of knowledge accumulation. And like I said, I'm going on my, like almost my second year of trading. You know, October will be 2 years full time. And starting off, you just need to like consume basic information out there, learning what candlesticks are, learning what charting is, learning how to read the market, learning what SPY is, what QQQ is, like, you know, like learning different sectors. What are the chip sectors? Like learning all that basic stuff. And out there's just tons of stuff on that. I don't think you need like a specific resource, but learn the basics. You know, there's tons of good books out there, and just really get down to the basics. You don't need to jump into this advanced stuff. You need to learn. So
at that point, you wouldn't say, okay, go buy a course. Like you can learn a lot without that first. And then when you already are up to a certain amount of knowledge. Yeah.
So the cool thing about courses is it does consolidate all the information to one easy spot. Mm-hmm. And depending on how the course is made and stuff like that, some courses like expect you to have a little bit of knowledge beforehand. And ultimately that just helps more because it allows you to see really like what the bigger picture is, and, you know, allows you to go into the details of it more like with a foundation. Yeah. So buying a course can definitely help. I'd say really try to just skim out there. Investopedia is a great website. They have like tons of stuff on charting, candlesticks and stuff. Cause like you really got to know like when you see these candlesticks, it's not just like random sticks on a graph. Every single candle is a direct representation of buyers versus sellers. What does this mean? Where are price in flux? So like, where are these key levels that are really important in the market that other buyers and sellers are navigating towards? What's volume profile? Like, why are you driven towards this price? Like, why is this important? So it's like learning basic candlesticks and like chart analysis and like learning it from a price action point of view is the most important thing. But initially, like I said, just learn basic stuff on YouTube, look up basic videos. And then once you get to a point where you're like, okay, I have a good foundation, I'd say buy a course.
Got you.
Buy some sort of course out there and buy a course that resonates with you. You have to enjoy their content. It has to make sense. You know, you can't just buy Joe Schmo's like random course because it's, you know, you saw one ad for it. Yeah. Like dig into their company, dig into what they're doing. Cause maybe this guru doesn't even know. Maybe this guru is negative on the year and he just like trying to sell it or something. Yeah, exactly. So
and you've kind of talked about it, but you think that next phase for you, because I know again you're an entrepreneur at heart, and I guess day trading kind of falls under that entrepreneurial spirit. But again, it's very selfish. Like you said, it's not like you're changing the world, changing lives. You're paying your bills. And in doing so, you can then, do some other cool things. Like where do you see yourself, going? Like what direction?
It's a great question. Ultimately, so I did just register an LLC called Strong Trading LLC.
There we go. All right.
And I did this mainly for tax benefits, tax purposes. But my bigger grand picture is to use this for coaching services to eventually maybe create a course. I don't know if I want to go the full course route. I do want to go the coaching route for sure, just because it's always something I've enjoyed, because of personal training background, stuff like that.
And you're a personal guy. I mean, honestly, I can imagine you doing work where you're just sitting alone, like you.
Like I always kind of need to be like talking with people.
Yeah,
and doing
exactly.
Stuff
Which
like that.
it doesn't surprise me that you've kept like the Tony's job, just because you like that interaction.
Yeah, like I like beer tending. I like talking to people and like stuff like that. So so under Strong Trading LLC, I will like start coaching services and ultimately like build out maybe some products behind it too. I have like this journal idea I've kind of been working on, because traders use journals every day. Yeah. And I'm in the process of creating this journal where it's just specifically for trading, but it's like a tangible journal. But a lot of people like to do stuff online, but that's not my route. Like this is just like old school, like
it's kind of like a training journal for lifting something. It goes
same idea. You see those on Instagram all the time. Yeah. So ultimately I'm trying to build a brand out behind that. That is down the pipeline. And this is actually something I wanted to bring up in this podcast is being entrepreneurial minded. Wanting to take on so many things, you have to know when to take a step back in order to take steps forward, even though your mind wants to do everything. Yeah. And I think that's the hardest part for a lot of people that are entrepreneurial minded or entrepreneurs in general, is until you find the thing that makes you tick, until you prove yourself that you're good at it, you shouldn't really add too many other things. And what I mean by that is, like, for me with trading right now, like, yes, I created my LLC for tax purposes, and like, yes, down the pipeline, like, I want to create these products and stuff like that, do coaching and stuff like that. But it's probably not going to be until late this year, maybe even beginning of next year, because right now my biggest focus and foundation is becoming a good trader myself.
Doing the thing
that literally makes it, like, everyone wants to call themselves an entrepreneur, but it's like, you need to be, if you're an entrepreneur, you are running multiple businesses successfully based on your foundation, which you have grown from your core product, whatever it is. Yeah. And like I said, for me, that's the biggest thing that's kind of helped me a lot, is I've taken a step back from trying to be involved in so many things. And it's honestly propelled my trading better than ever, because all I can do is focus. Yep. So like, and even like, I got coronavirus like 7-8 weeks ago. And during that week, I was like, well, this sucks, but like, I can just dig into trading like so hard and like only focus on this. So I can't even leave my room, like more than I usually do. And I had like one of the best weeks ever trading that week. Yeah. So
I think that's a good piece of advice. Like, so many entrepreneurs spread themselves, too thin, or they try to push 5 things at once when they need to push 2. Or I mean, I did that. I tried to like push apparel really hard too early and ended up spending way too much money on apparel that I designed myself that was trash and it just sits on the shelves or in my closet if you want to buy it. No, it's like that's the key, is you just gotta focus on the main thing, or maybe 1 or 2 things, and then push those as hard as you can and get those to a place where then maybe you take the step back. Yeah. Then you create more products or different services or different things. But if you lose touch with that first thing, you're irrelevant.
You're
that's how you start to slide backwards. Yeah. So exactly. I think that's a good mindset to have, and in doing so in a way where, of course, like, I know you're a really authentic guy, and like, you want to do it with a lot of authenticity and make sure it's the right service, the right product, and figure out a different, like, what can make you different from another course, or
what can make me stand out. I mean, and this is something also where, strong trading, my background in powerlifting, that's where the strong comes from. So it's like, even like, my Instagram, the strong trader.
There we go.
Follow my Instagram.
Follow his Instagram.
I've been trying to put out content once a week, and it's nothing crazy, but it's just authentic content where I go over either like trade setups or a recap or like an educational thing. And like, that's part of my way of giving back right now, while I'm still in this learning process of just like trying to become a 6-figure trader, is being able to just show like literally like the blood and guts of what I'm doing and be authentic about it, because, I'm not this insane successful trader yet. Like, yeah, I have big goals and aspirations, but like, I'm not here to be like, oh, buy my course, do this, do that. Like, I am just a guy that's really passionate about this, and I have put everything into this, and I am so determined to make it successful. but I'm not trying to like boast about how much money I'm making or anything. It's just, I am just literally trying to slowly take the steps to build out this brand down the line. And like, this is like the hooks kind of going into the fish.
Well, I think honestly, like you even being able to day trade full time in itself is successful. Cause again, like you're not working for anyone else. You do get to work from home. There's a lot of flexibility in your life that allows you to tackle really anything you want, work another job if you want to. Like that is true freedom. You know what I mean? Yeah. And ultimately too, like, you know, people ask me all the freaking time, like, hey, you know, I'm posting all these Instagrams, like I'm not getting clients or I'm not, you know, building a business or why am I doing this if like I'm not getting all these yet? I'm like, it doesn't matter because you're putting it out there. It's like putting coins in a coin jar. It takes forever, but eventually you're going to cash out and have something. Yep. And so by you doing that, you're going to have this whole history of posting and knowledge you're sharing that people can follow you. And then when you do launch a course, then someone who's been following you for years is going to trust you because they've been following you and seeing your stuff. So don't, you know, people get so caught up in this idea of like, oh, every post I need to get a lead or every post I need to, you know, I need to monetize it like immediately, quick cash, right? But it's all about long-term stuff. And you've got you have a good vision for like what you want to do with long-term, you know, building in mind. And I think that's awesome. Well, cool, man. You know, honestly, I'm stoked you came on the podcast. I really think we kind of got good details of like day trading ins and outs and stuff. And again, you know, Tanner, you guys should follow Tanner at The Strong Trader. Is that just that account?
That's just my trading account. Yeah. Okay. At The Strong Trader. And then my personal is at Powerliftner.
There you go.
So powerlifter, but NER.
Yeah.
I just post my lifting and stuff like that. You'll just see me grunting and yelling and, you know, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm competing next weekend, so that'll be exciting.
Where are you competing at?
USPA drug tested states.
Drug tested. Don't worry, guys.
Yeah.
States. Where's this?
Not yet.
Where's the meet?
It's in Chino, I think.
Okay. Yeah. There's the Vista one this weekend.
Yeah, I'm going there.
Yeah, you
Sunday.
are?
Yeah.
Oh my God. My friend.
Support.
Yeah, my friend, Arturio's girlfriend's competing. He's like, hey, you want to come with me? I'm like, nah, not really. I don't really feel like sitting in Vista for like 8 hours and just, you know, it just doesn't. But hey, you know, it's like it is what it is. But yeah, I've got a little staycation this weekend with the fam. But
sweet.
But yeah, so you guys, if you have any other questions about day trading, I'm sure he gets a ton of his DMs. But Tanner's happy to help.
You guys can slide in.
Yeah.
Like I said, the biggest takeaway I just want everyone to get from this is, you know, if you want to become a trader full time, just know that there's a lot of work. This isn't something that's super glamorous. It's shown like that in a lot of ways, to, you know, but the real deal is it's going to be hard. It's going to take a lot of time. It's going to make you blood, sweat, and cry.
Lots of tears.
Yeah, lots of tears, especially when you're frustrated, yelling at your computer.
Cry red.
Like, you want to smash your computer.
Your life red. Yeah. You start seeing red.
Yeah, exactly. But ultimately, you know, respect your process, because the process of just doing everything day to day has been what's helped me the most. Yeah. And like I said, I think that's with any field, is just don't be so focused on the goal. Like, focus on your process day to day and then slowly chipping away towards the goal. And then before you know it, you hit it and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, and I think, you know, takeaway from today too is try all the things.
Try all the things. Find what makes you tick.
Yeah.
Because if you don't find what makes you tick, you're going to be unhappy for a lot of your life. And 100%. It's going to take time to find what makes you tick. But eventually, you know, you keep throwing darts at the dartboard, you're going to hit it.
Exactly. One on that. Boom.
Cool.